Welcome to Forum 360, where we have a global outlook from a local view. I'm your host, Leah Love, and today we have Brandon Scarborough of Dreams Academy. We're going to be talking about how to take boys and turn them into successful young men. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about Dreams Academy.
Dreams Academy is a mentoring organization for young men 10 to 15, all African American males, where we attempt to do exactly what you said, is take them as young boys and start training them to grow up into successful young men, whether they stay in this community or evolve out, where we want them to start looking at and displaying the traits of manhood. And so we try and do our best to pour those things into them.
Okay. What was your motivation to start it?
My motivation to start it was actually some years ago. What I really wanted was a charter school for young men. And sometimes your plan is not, what God's plan is. And so literally sitting on the corner of South Street and I think Wolf Ledges, I just heard the words, "What are you waiting on?" The logo for Dreams Academy I had developed easily 4 years ago, and it was just on my laptop. It was my laptop wallpaper. I was trying to finish school, and I had put the whole school thing off. But when I heard those words, I knew it was time to move and do something. I didn't know what that something was, sitting at that stoplight. But I went home and just got to work, and 2 years later almost, it's been a phenomenal journey.
Okay. So how is your approach different from other programs that cater to young men?
That's a hard question because there's so many good things going on, even in our Acro community. There's so many guys and ladies doing great work. I think what's special about Dreams is our hands-on approach. I've been very fortunate to have a great network of people to reach out to come in to help. And that's been a huge blessing to be able to call on people. And almost in the whole 2 years, no one has really charged me a phenomenal amount of money to come. They've all said yes. And we've really had some major people who hold major positions. One thing that we pride Dreams on is putting very professional and successful adult black males in front of the kids. And so anything from college deans to even last year for our gala, we were fortunate to have Steve Harvey's son-in-law, Ben Raymond from Atlanta, Georgia, was our speaker. And so I've really had some divine connections, I like to think, that have really assisted in making that difference.
So why the word Dreams? Where does that title come from?
DREAM stands for Developing Responsible, Extraordinary African American Males for Success. Mm-hmm. And so the acronym came later. I have no idea why Dreams was the word, but again, it's that whole planning piece. Sometimes you just don't know why things are happening. And so even with that, and me wanting Dreams Academy some time ago, I had no idea that would be the acronym. But it really models what we try and do. We really want to develop these young men. One of the things that it has turned into that we really didn't expect is that I would say over 95% of my boys come from single parent homes, mostly all raised by their mother, grandmother, and they have a limited male influence. And so back to the difference that you mentioned, I think that's another difference of ours. We're really surrounding these guys. I have guys that just come to the program that are grown just to hang out and just to be present. And I think our boys really need to see that. Especially with everything going on in America right now, they really need to see the presence of strong, successful black men in front of them to give them some examples of who they can become.
So what's been one of the most challenging aspects of creating your academy?
Money.
Money?
Money. Money is always a great challenge. We ain't got none.
What have been some of the ways you kind of maneuvered around that?
Again, blessed. A lot of the people that have come in on the strength of connection and friendship. And I firmly believe in asking anybody to do anything for me. If you tell me no, that's cool, we still friends. But I've gotten more yeses than I've gotten no's. And so, as we all have heard coming up, a closed mouth don't get fed. And so I'm unashamed about asking for what I want and what I need to get things done. we've been able to raise enough money to do what we need to do. But it sure would be nice to have a lot more. And that's just so we can grow. Dreams Academy is about experiences. One thing I like to think about it as is we do things that these young men wouldn't typically see if they didn't come to Dreams. And so at the end of the day, money makes the world go round. And so the more money we can get in, the more things I can expose them to.
Okay. Do you have any things off the top of your head that if you had some more money that you would like to expose them to?
Absolutely. I want to go to the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. I want them to see that. I want to take them anywhere I can, take them outside the city and in the city. I think there's a lot of gems in our city that people just don't know about. The fact that for our first gala, we got to take our pictures at the Akron Art Museum. They had never been down there for the most part. And so stuff like that, just anywhere I would like to take them, that's going to cost me money. I want to try and raise the money to be able to do it and expose them to not just in those experiences, expose them to arts, culture, just some of the stuff that's outside of the realm of what they're used to on TV and social media.
Absolutely. What do you feel that some of the young men are lacking?
Leadership. And that's because a lot of times they haven't seen it. And so a lot of my boys come in and we start to show them what real men look like, how they're supposed to act. One of our defining components is always in week 3, we talk about etiquette. We talk about how you're supposed to act. We talk about how you're supposed to treat a woman. We talk about chivalry is not at all dead unless you kill it. And so we talk about wearing your pants at your waist. So my boys dress up every week, shirt, tie, and we don't allow that sagging and gym shorts and all that stuff because they have to know that unfortunately when they look like that, they're perceived a different way. And it's up to them to change that perception. And so if you can look the part and speak the part, you're already helping to change that perception. And so that etiquette piece is really big for us, regardless of what our focus is for each session. We teach them how to tie the tie. We give them the ties, just so that a lot of my kids don't have ties. It's something that small. And back again to that lack of male leadership in the household, that it's just so unfortunate that we got kids. I've probably had over 40 kids come through in this little less than 2 years. I've met less than 5 fathers. And that's a sad statistic. And it's more sad because maybe out of that 40, a lot of those guys are right in town. And so they're not active in the raising of the child. There are special cases where some have been deceased and others are incarcerated. But I really feel some kind of way about the guys that are in town. And it's interesting that, just in the realm of social media, I see some of these guys. I'm like, your son is in Dreams Academy, right? And so, I know it's a lot of factors that play into those things, and there are individual cases, but I really want to try and start working on how do we get those guys back into the fold so they can at least start to build relationships, start to mend relationships, because I don't think they understand the effect that that lack of participation has on their son. Now,
in speaking of leadership, how do you choose the men that come in to provide the leadership for the young men?
It's been a number of things. I've been fortunate, again, through networks and connections. Some of the things I did before Dreams Academy, just to know and meet some awesome guys that I've just built relationships with. But at the same time, even with that, I've had people call me and say, hey, you need to get this guy in there. He's perfect for that. Or so one thing I'm getting better at is allowing people to help me. I wasn't good at that my first year. So this second year, I really did better at allowing people to, well, no, I did better at listening to what people were telling me. They was always telling me stuff. But I do much better at, okay, that's a good idea. Let's try it and see what happens. And so it's been a great combination of people that I knew and people that I've met along the way who now I know. So when I call them now, they know the drill. They just fit right in. They like, okay, I'll be there. Yeah.
Were there any topics that you weren't able to find somebody for that you are potentially looking for?
I haven't had that happen yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't had that happen yet. I like to think I plan pretty well.
Okay.
And so, I haven't had that happen yet. Or, you know, we
or
just
potential
maneuver.
speakers that you would like to bring in, maybe for?
Yeah. We're already planning for fall of 18. So I'm 2 sessions ahead already. So yeah, I haven't had that happen yet, but I like to try and plan well enough far out so that it doesn't. But yeah, at least in the immediate sense. And even with that, when I started this, what we're doing now, I had no idea it would turn into what it's turned into. I was working at the time, a full-time job. They found out about this and some things transpired, and they actually let me go. And so when that happened and we did our first sessions in the summer, all my parents were like, so what we about to do now? I'm like, well, what y'all mean? They like, let's keep going. All right, you know, so it's really turned into a great thing that I absolutely did not see coming, but I'm very proud of it.
So where do you see Dreams Academy in 5 years?
Nashville, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland. I can keep going.
Expansion on the ground.
Well, you know, the issues that we see in Akron are not just in Akron. I've gotten calls from every city I just named. I'm serious about that. I've gotten calls already to say, when you bring dreams here, we ready. I mean, literally, a friend of mine called me at 7 a.m., called me immediately. Something wrong? No, we got to get dreams here. Okay, I'll call you when I wake up and we can talk about it some more. But I literally see it in every city because every city has the same exact need. Every city has young men who are fatherless. And I don't even want that to be the stick of what we do, because it's not. I didn't start this to say, bring me all your fatherless boys. It just turned out that way. And that's cool. And for the few fathers that I have met, they're great guys and very helpful. But even a lot of our lessons aren't to say, do this or don't do this because you don't have a father. We just teaching you how to be a man. We just teach you how to think different. Our last session I thought was pretty dope for the use of some urban terminology. But the fact that we had a psychologist come in and talk to the boys about expressing their feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express yourself. Anger is not the only emotion a black man has. I thought that was kind of a defining moment for me, because we can talk about putting on the tie and all that, but if we don't work on the inside as well as the outside, we defeating the purpose. So I think every young man in America needs Dreams Academy. You know, I think we do something that is different, and I think expansion is around the corner.
Okay. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm Leah Love, your host, and we're here with Brandon Scarborough of Dreams Academy. And we're talking about turning men or boys into successful young men. So going back into your vision of what you see for the young men, what have been some of the sessions and the lessons that the men have taught you out of each session and lesson?
Oh, that the men have taught me.
The men or even the boys, what you've learned from them that you weren't necessarily expecting?
Respect. In the sense of, anytime I start talking about this, I start crying. That's why that's why I was trying to tell you. It's all right to cry, but just the level of respect that they show, the level of gratefulness that they show for multiple guys to come in and just kind of put their arms around them and say they are really appreciative. For one of my boys to call me on Christmas just to say Merry Christmas, that was pretty big. Y'all gonna edit all this crap out, right? But yeah, that was a very pleasant surprise that I didn't expect. Another one, I got a call yesterday from a guy that's starting his program, and he called to say thank you. Thank you for what? He said, I wouldn't have did this if it wasn't for you. And he was a guy that when I talk about connections, I hadn't met, and it was funny. I met him, and his mother lives down the street from my mother. And you know, we just connected. And he came in, he spoke to the kids, and we started talking about different things. And he said, B, I've been sitting on this dream for a minute. And you know, he lives in another city, so it's no competition, it's nothing like that. And I hadn't talked to him since the summertime when he came in, and he called me just yesterday just to say, he said, I'm about to put something on Facebook about you, but I wanted to catch you off guard. I said, okay. He said, but I really wanted to tell you thank you. I had to put the phone on mute because I started crying again. But it was just like, wow, there's no amount of money that can pay for impact on people, especially when you don't even know. And so you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening, you never know who's paying attention. And even for me personally, that's kind of something I try and be more mindful of, because I definitely ain't perfect, but I never want to be a hindrance to my boys.
You know, I certainly didn't grow up privileged, but I had involved parents. And so I think sometimes we do take just the presence of that person there for granted, and how people are developed and shaped by that throughout their lives. So that's really good, because you really don't understand the impact that you're making today on their future for tomorrow that affects so many other lives that they're going to touch.
Yeah.
So how do you define and demonstrate success to the boys? What do they learn that's what it looks like to them?
I think we demonstrate that through a number of things. Career success, family success. I try and use guys who are family men, who, you know, are active in their kids' lives to the point that I've had guys come in to speak, bring their kids just to watch. Bring their wives. My guy Sharon from Columbus, that was the first time we had a lady speak to the boys, and their husband and wife team that's doing a great job at what they do in the Columbus area. But they came and kind of tag teamed together, and she talked to the men about some of the things that men do, that they, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, that are not appropriate. And so that was another, I think, defining moment, to have a woman come in to say, y'all shouldn't act like this, you know. Even though kind of that whole Me Too phenomenon that's going on right now, where women are starting to speak out about the harassment and some of the things that are not appropriate. Even though they're young, that's information that they need coming up, because it's far too many negative images between the social media, between the TV, between the music, that tries to justify certain lifestyles, and they're sending messages to these young boys that these things are okay, and they're really not, especially in the real world. When you start to talking about you want a career and you want a job, I know so many young men that have really blown some great opportunities over some foolishness. And so when you talk about success, our last session talked about health and wellness, and one of our sessions was on making healthy choices. So when you get in these little situations, you watch who you hang around, watch who you let pour into you, watch where you hang out at, and if you see them going a certain way, figure out how to distance yourself. It's okay to just be high and by with certain people, because you can't let everybody into your space. So we're trying to develop in them now. Start being mindful of these things, so you can kind of see them coming, and when they are happening to you, you know how to make the right decision, so that you don't make the wrong decision and have to face consequences in the future.
So you touched on it a little bit about the negative stigmas there are some negative stigmas with African American young males, being uneducated, unemployed, a danger to society. How do you, a little bit more in depth, have this difficult conversation with them and then help them combat these stigmas that they have placed on them that they don't even realize?
So some of that is the whole perception piece that we talked about earlier. How you look and how you act, unfortunately, plays a part in how you are perceived. And so we do our best to say, you know, unfortunately in many areas, our boys are made to believe if you talk proper, you talk white. No, you just talk proper. You need to know how to talk to get a job. So that whole uneducated and unemployment stuff, so let's get past that, because I know how to have a conversation with you without cussing, because I know how to have a conversation with you without using ebonics. You know, that's okay in the right context. But if we're sitting down having a lunch meeting about some business, let's talk proper. You know, even with the education piece, I used to be a huge proponent of college. I'm not anymore. There are so many other ways to gain knowledge, and with what they're doing, and you may know about this, but school loans are real, and Sally Mae is very real, and there's not much happening in that field that's helping our people. And so I'm no longer blowing that horn to say you have to go to college after high school. No, you don't. They got trade school, vocational programs, certificate programs. At some point in life, everybody needs a plumber, and there's nothing wrong with being a plumber. It's a need. And so if you like pipes and water, go be a plumber. Everybody needs an electrician. And so we have to get away from, I know for me, when we did our career fair, and everybody wanted to choose, well, I'm going to the NBA. Nah, you're not. And I'm not speaking negatively about you, but you have to do something and have a thought. I don't even want to call it a plan B. You have to have a plan. But at the end of the day, in all the years of Akron, Ohio, I think only Gus Johnson and LeBron made it to the NBA. It may be some more, but you know, unfortunately, they don't realize that there's literally only 450 guys in the NBA in this big world. And so while they can, you know, dream that's cool, but let's talk about what lawyers had to do to be lawyers. Let's talk about the trade school piece. Let's talk about some other aspects of life that you can consider that may not make you millions, but will allow you to take care of your family.
As a cosmetologist, I thoroughly agree with that. I am so for vocational programs.
Everybody needs their hair done.
Everybody needs their hair done, and they'll need it until they die. Right. So it can't be outsourced. So there's a lot of things in trades that can't be outsourced. Oh, and exactly, when they die as well.
Don't nobody want to be laying up there looking crazy.
Now, where do you hold your sessions?
We are currently at the House of Lord Youth Center, which is an amazing facility. I always want to give a shout out to my grandmother, who allowed us to use her church when we first started, which is an amazing facility as well. At the House of the Lord, it's just a lot more space, technology, Wi-Fi, flat screens all over the walls, pool tables, and so they got a lot more room to run around. And you know, we let them get loose for a little bit, you know, when we get done after we take care of business. So, you know, definitely thank you to House of the Lord for allowing us to be there. It's a wonderful location.
What is the cost of the academy?
The cost is $200, and with that, that's their admittance into the program, as well as a Dreams Academy t-shirt. We give every young man 7 ties for them to wear, and I do that on purpose just because of that whole bullying piece, where a lot of kids just don't have certain things. And so as opposed to me just giving them 1 tie, I give them all 7 so they can change up every week, because at the end of the day, my kids ain't perfect either. So they like to come in and roast, and they taught me a word this last time. I said, I don't even know what that is. But they come in telling their jokes and stuff, because they still kids and we still allow them to be kids. So this absolutely is not boot camp. Okay. You know, we have a lot of fun.
And how can they contact you if they want to support Dreams Academy?
Oh, let me give you all the ways to support Dreams Academy. You can go to the website, which is www.dreamsacademyakron.org. There's a PayPal button on every page of the site, so it's very accessible. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 13383, Akron, Ohio 44334. You can make a check or money order to Dreams Academy. We are 501c3, so it's tax deductible. You can call 330-422-8332, and if I need to come pick it up, you give me your address, and I'll definitely stop by.
All right, well, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cash App
Cash App as well?
Dreams Academy. Cash App
Thank
Dreams
you
Academy.
for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you would like to support Dreams Academy, as he listed, you can contact them on their website or social media page. I am Leah Love, and this was Brandon Scarborough of Dreams Academy.
Thank you.
And we really want to support you in your endeavor to turn these boys into young, successful men.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Forum 360 is brought to you with support from Electric Impulse Communications, Kim and Harvey Nelson, Rubber City Radio Group, Akronist.com, Hudson Cable, Medical Mutual of Ohio, Forum 360 supporters, and the Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron.